Hey everybody, welcome to Sew with Joe. Today we are switching gears back to my blanket project. Taking a whole bunch of jeans that I've had for, well, jeans, khakis, whatever that I've had for a long time, and putting them all together into one big blanket. And then when I'm done the base part of the blanket, I'm going to be adding a bunch of my old t-shirts to the other side to finish it off and make it look cool. A lot of t-shirts that I've had for a long time that I don't really want to wear anymore. They're starting to get a bit threadbare, and stuff that I've had given to me that I don't really wear out, but I wouldn't mind having as part of this blanket. So yeah, going to be a memory blanket basically. And even just having these jeans and other material here is already bringing back the memories. Basically, I just had way too much patch material, and always wanted to make a blanket. And share good world news with everyone. So the good world news today is more of an inward focus. And it is on how to boost your immune system. So if you haven't been feeling well, or if you're worried about getting sick, or just generally want to be healthier, first step is to eat a balanced diet. And there's a lot of things on this list that have to do with food, with the first blanket statement, eat a balanced diet. In this case, we're going to focus on including foods that are rich in fiber, keep your system moving, and fermented foods are good for your gut health. So things like sourdough bread, sauerkraut, yogurt, kimchi, kombucha, and everyone's favorites, wine, cider, and beer. So foods involving the fermentation process are apparently quite good for your gut health. That's actually one thing that I have a bit of a problem with, is fermented foods to me taste wrong. They taste bad. So that's one thing I need to work on getting more into my diet. Maybe we'll start. Maybe we'll go for a glass of wine with dinner or something. Ease into it. Anyway, so yeah, first phase in boosting your immune system. Eating a balanced diet. Now, the second step is kind of along the lines of the first step, and that's get more vitamin C and zinc in your diet. All sorts of different types of fruits, veg, nuts, and stuff that have vitamin C and zinc. So I'll let you look that up. But those are two very important items for strong immune system health. So vitamin C and zinc. Now, something to cut out of your diet is apparently most sweeteners and all refined sugar is bad for your gut. That's what they're telling us. So try to reduce the sweetener intake, try to reduce your sugar intake, and that will help out your guts. I think it's interesting how gut has become a very common term now. You know, never used to hear the word gut. Unless you're referring to somebody with a big belly. Man, look at the gut on that guy. But I guess that's not an appropriate use of that term anymore because it's insulting. And body shaming, which apparently isn't allowed anymore. And the last note, no, not even last note, based on diet. You know, most of the notes that they have here are based on your diet. That's how important it is what you put into you. What you put into you is what comes out of you. So I'm just going to keep going on all of the diet-based improvements first, and then we'll move on to the rest of the things. So a vitamin D supplement, 10,000 international units, or 10, I think it's micrograms a day, is a good supplement. Prevents infection. Here come my coffee and cookie. Yay. Yay. Thank you. Hello. Here. And I would suggest liquid vitamin D's, because if you're taking pill form D's, they don't absorb as well. And if you're taking 10,000 IU and you're only absorbing 3,000 IU, you're not getting your full dose. So yeah, they're more expensive, but they also work. So liquid D's, liquid vitamins are a good thing. This corner is a little messed up, so what I'm going to do is make the best of it. Pull that tight. And so I can get into this corner, make that connection, and then I'll come back and do this end after. Another note on your diet is to hydrate. Lots and lots of water intake. What my doctor told me was that if you are properly hydrating, you should be urinating every 30 minutes. Every 30 minutes you should have to go to the washroom. And that's so that you're flushing your system out constantly, consistently, and that is the healthy way to go. So at least 2 liters of water a day, and you know, so that you have to go to the washroom quite often. And if your boss gives you trouble about going to the bathroom so often, it is by your doctor's orders that you are hydrating. You know, any doctor will tell you to hydrate properly. Any. If they don't, they shouldn't have a fucking license. Sorry, pardon the language. So if your employer ever gives you grief about using the washroom too often, you say, this is what my doctor's telling me, I need to go to the washroom. You know, if I'm hydrating properly. Okay, so this isn't exactly a straight line. That's okay. I'm just going to go and join from there to there, close this up, trim that off, and I think we're good to go for that corner. Cheers. Oh, sometimes you just gotta take a minute to breathe. Make sure that I get a little bit of overlap so that I don't grab. I'm actually going to trim this off first so that it's even with the other piece. And this corner is going to bunch up a little bit, I'm sure. That's okay. Why? Because it's not that important. And stopping doesn't get you anywhere. So we're going to keep going. I'm going to make a blanket. One thing I learned is that just a philosophy, general work philosophy, is that you can get 80% of the work done in 20% of the time. Say that again. You can get 80% of the work done in 20% of the time. So to put this blanket together, without, you know, doing 80% of it, let's say, like without doing trim, without worrying too much about the corners being perfect, without, you know, without being too fussy, you know, without my usual perfectionist want slowing me down. When you can get rid of 20% of the work that doesn't really make a difference, like I'm going to have a functional blanket, though it might not be perfect, or what some would say finished, you know, with the edging and all sorts of things. So the only thing is, if I was to do all those extra bits and pieces, that would take me the extra 80% of the time, because that's where your finishing is, that's where you're finicky. When you're just sewing, you're just going along really quickly and sewing. When you're actually doing finishing and everything on a piece, it takes time, because you really want to line everything up. And this blanket project, it's a quickie, you know. It's something for myself. It's something that, you know, it's my style. Pardon. A lot of the stuff that I do is kind of quick and dirty, unfinished. Any of my projects that I have, you know, vehicles, they're not the prettiest things in the world, but they work. That's like with a car I'm working on right now, or we have a little Volkswagen Golf, an older one. It's a 91. And that thing looks rough. The paint's peeling off of it, you know. But the first thing I did when I brought it in is I got it running better. The idle was a little bit wonky, and I sorted that out. So I forgot to turn the dehumidifier off. I'm sorry about the background noise. Try to remember that. Oh, silly me. Oh, yeah. Cheers. So with that car, I've got it running better, and now I'm stuck because there's some body work that needs to be done that I don't consider really necessary, I guess. I'd rather get a vehicle in, sort out the ignition and running and everything, than I would have it looking good, you know. I'd rather put in a new engine than give it a new paint job. And that's just the way I roll, I guess. That's just the way I work on things. It's the way I work with things. It translates into my sewing too. Just functional, you know. Build a blanket. Doesn't matter if the spit and polish is there. It's just functional. Now, going back to your diet, how to boost your immune system. One of the big things that they say is to cut out alcohol consumption. Or if you are going to consume alcohol earlier in the day. It's nice to see the government encouraging day drinking, and I think that's the way that people are going anyways. So don't drink alcohol late is the biggest thing, because it affects your sleep cycle. So if you are going to consume, quit before supper time, kind of thing. And I'm not saying drink all day from breakfast till supper time. If you are going to have something, have a glass of wine with your lunch. It's, once again, the Europeans have it right. A lot of the time over there, you'll go out for lunch, you'll have a glass of wine with your lunch, you'll have a beer with your lunch. It's good for your health. It's good for your guts. It's good for everything. It makes everything feel a little bit better. To a point, Maybe that's why they did communion wine. I don't know. Maybe because it was healthy, just a tiny little bit every Sunday, get into your gut. Sorry about that, I just had a fly land on the inside of my glasses. I heard him buzzing around there for a moment. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why we have the Nerf guns in the background, in case you were wondering. We are avid Nerf gun fly hunters. It's if you're annoyed by flies, if you are annoyed by flies, and you want a way to turn it into something fun instead of something aggravating as heck, buy Nerf guns, shoot your flies, and don't worry about the darts everywhere, because that will happen. It looks like we got this chunk done. Seeing as how I still have more to talk about, I am going to keep going, because this blanket has a few spots that have kind of opened up that I didn't stitch well enough the first time. So I'm going to go back and touch some of that up. This one I don't think is going to sit very straight with that corner. No, it's not too bad. And that's what the blanket stitch is kind of good for. It stretches, it moves, it allows things to kind of flatten out. So yeah, good little addition. Then I have this spot here that is opened up. So I'm going to go in and tidy that up. Alright, what has happened here? I need to go across a little lower and then back. Yeah, we'll do it up. No problemo. Cheers. Oh, congested this morning. I seem to be allergic to something in our house. So I've been taking antihistamines pretty regularly. I think once the weather is a little more favorable, we might take So with Joe to the outdoors, just to give everyone a bit of a different view on everything. Okay, just gonna go make sure that I dig a little deeper into this. Pull this corner up a little bit because it's sagged down in there. And we will tighten this corner up. Gonna go down, grab the fabric, bring it up so it's even. Take a good chunk, because the khaki material tends to tear out a fair bit easier than the denim. But it's all cotton. So, your immune system. One thing to cut out, alcohol. Another thing to cut out, cigarettes. I know you've been hearing it forever, but it is not good for your immune system. It creates an imbalance in your system. It unbalances your system and creates an imbalance. We're doing word lessons today. Unbalances your system and creates an imbalance. One big thing with your immune health, and this is, I think, probably the most important thing on this list, is stress reduction via either yoga, meditation, sewing, journaling, art, any of the many faces of art. Just something to take your mind off of the rest of the world. And I think you're doing a good thing here with that. So this can be part of your de-stressing, and glad to be part of your immune health boost. Well, let me know. Do you feel better after watching SwJ? Maybe we've got some healing properties going on here. That would be amazing. Get a disclaimer: 8 out of 10 doctors prefer SwJ. Keeping a very regular sleep routine is also very important for your immune system. And the amount of sleep you get is also quite important. And they say between 6 and 9 hours per person is normal. That's between 6 and 9 is normal. So if you're sitting there thinking, man, I can't believe I sleep 6 hours a night, that's way too much sleep. No, that's on the low end of normal. So don't feel bad if you sleep 9 hours at night, because that might just be what your body needs. Okay, stitched up this corner real solid. Some big loops in there. Probably should have tightened that up a little bit more, but I went over it often enough. I don't think that's going to open up. Let's find some other spots. I know I have other spots. Okay, found another corner here to fix up. Hadn't quite finished this one up apparently. I must have just missed it. So, regular sleep, very important. Also very important is regular exercise. Now, they recommend a minimum of 150 minutes of moderate exercise per week. Or, if you don't want to exercise for 150 minutes, you can do 75 minutes of vigorous exercise. So either you can do double the amount of moderate exercise, or you can do half the amount of vigorous exercise. I would recommend, if you're not exercising, I would recommend the 150 minutes of moderate exercise. Because if you jump straight into the 75 minutes of vigorous exercise, you're just going to hurt yourself and discourage yourself, and you're not going to be able to do it anymore. And I rediscovered the movie Basketball the other day. Love that movie. Trey Parker, Matt Stone, creators of South Park, starring in it but not writing it. Really, really good movie. Funny. I don't know, maybe not good, but funny anyway. And in there they play a game called Basketball. And it actually sounds really fun. That would be in the moderate exercise because you're not actually like running around and, you know, that sort of thing. But you are moving, you're doing an activity. And what it is, it's basically basketball with baseball rules. So from the free throw line is a single. The top of the key is a double, or no, wait. There's a closer shot that's a single. Free throw is a double, and 3-pointer is a 3 base hit. And then there's a home run marker at what would roughly be half court. So you have a few people and you shoot. If you miss the shot, it's an out. If you miss the shot and the opposing team rebounds and shoots it in without touching the ground, then it's a double play. That sort of thing. So just an adaptation on traditional basketball rules, combining the two major sports. And I really want to play it this year. I want to get a few people together and play some basketball. So that could be potentially my exercise. You know, so exercise doesn't just have to be what you traditionally think of, like going to the gym, doing cardio, doing spin class, or whatever. Getting together and fooling around in the driveway with some friends playing a game that doesn't officially exist. Just ask the Frolfers, I guess. Yeah, something like that. Looks like we have one seam that's... Is that opening up? No, it's still holding on. Oh yeah, I barely took anything on that. I think I might just go in and redo part of that stitch just to strengthen it up a bit. I still have more to talk about. Yay! Boosting your immune system, there's so many things that you can do, it's not surprising. Cheers. Not surprising. So, as part of this whole stress reduction, sleep routine exercise. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. To finish off my point on the exercise, the 150 and 75 minutes are minimums, and then in addition to that, you want to work in some strength training. So just lifting stuff. If you plant trees, you know, fill up pails of water and carry them across your yard as a strengthening exercise. You know, instead of when you get your groceries home, instead of just putting your groceries away, use each one as a repetition to, you know, lift up, put up, you know. Just little ways that you can fit exercise into your day. That to me is always the toughest part, is finding time. And so if you can exercise without having to find time for it, if you can fit that into something that you're already doing, it'll help you be efficient and stick with it, I would think. Uh-oh. Something has gotten mucked up here. Oh, my knot got way off center somehow. Weird. There we go. Better. Not quite sure how that happened. But yeah, as part of the stress reduction, all sorts of things, being in nature is another way to boost your immune system. Just going for walks in and amongst the trees, on beaches, anything like that. Just being around nature, around plants, around the animals outdoors, you know, being exposed to all these things. And also just being out in nature is therapeutic in and of itself. And the final note on boosting your immune system, being active, being out in nature, being whatever, is also being around people. And I know these days it's tough to do that and keep safety in mind, but you can. You can gather together and still be safe about it. And this will keep you exposed to other people and just being around people generally makes people feel better. Not always. You know, there are some people that just can't stand people. But I think that has more to do with people being hurt and having learned a sensitivity to people. And they call it social nutrition. So you have to keep an eye on your social nutrition as well. So lots of things you can do to boost your immune system, keep yourself healthy. Healthy, happy. Most of it has to do with food, what you consume, what you put into you. And what goes in is what comes out, right? That's what we've always heard. One thing I heard one time was a variation on the whole "you are what you eat" thing, and it's "you are what you've eaten for the last 6 months." So if you used to eat really well and you just kind of got on a bad habit for the last 6 months, then you are a bad habit. Get back on it, and you can balance that back out. 6 months of steady eating straight will get everything back to normal, where things should be, and then you can just maintain that because you'll be so used to it. Let's check that out. Yeah, my corners end up bunching up a bit. If anybody out there knows how I can kind of sort that out, I think what I'm going to start doing is leave more space when I come to a corner like this, and then I can concentrate just on the corner and keeping that better. And yeah, I think that's going to be it for today. Some good progress on the blanket project, and yeah, not sure what we'll get up to next time. I might add some pieces onto this thing. I've got a number of projects I need actually to do some just utility sewing, some repairs. So I might show you guys how I do some of my repairs, and yeah, who knows, we might go back on the blanket and finish off some of these edges, or maybe throw an actual t-shirt on there and see how that process goes. Get that started. I think that's it's going to be very interesting, very fun. I'm just trying to think of how I should layer it. But yeah, we'll figure that out. Well, thanks so much for joining me. Cheers. I really do appreciate the time we get to spend together. And I get to create all these fun things, spread the good world news, hopefully make a little bit of a difference for your day along the way. So till next time, keep chillin'. Don't forget your cookie. Peace.